getting you where you live from Tullamarine to Thomastown. This is your local station, 98.9 Northwest FM.
That's right, 98.9 Northwest FM. You're on CarTorque with Matty J. Tonight I'm joined in the studio by our usual guest, Luca. How you going, Luke?
What's going on, mate?
Not much, mate. And obviously, good mate of yours and good mate of mine, James. How you going, James?
Good, mate. Good to be here.
Well, this is like the third James I've had on. I think on the show I've had James Morez and James Jospovic. So it's another James coming out of the woodworks.
Save the best to last.
Yeah, always. All right. Well, we know about your car history, Luca, but we'll jump straight into yours. Into yours, Bucko. Car history. What have you previously had, and why are you into cars?
Well, the reason why I'm into cars is who doesn't love a bit of power? I guess that's what we're brought up with in Australia. Embedded into the history of the country. Bit of history about my cars. Back in 2010, I first got my P plates. I started with an FG XR6.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously nothing compared to the turbo, but unfortunately due to the legislation, that's the best we can drive. That was a good car. And then after that, I guess progressed to a CLK 350 Mercedes, which was...
It's a nice car.
Which was quite nice. And the engine in that, it's just beautiful. It'd blow most things out of the water, naturally aspirated V6s. And maybe the start of this year, I decided to farewell Ford Motor Company and got a FGX XR8.
Oh, nice. Tough.
With a 335 kilowatt supercharge, and that's ample power, yeah. But as everybody says, once you get a bit of power, all you want is more. So yeah. Searching for that little bit extra. I guess.
little bit extra, maybe a tune and a couple other things on the way.
Yeah.
Gotta have to put it to the ground. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it struggles that it is with the 275s on the rear. So
yeah, it'll still light them up. But yeah, no, you've had some cool cars there.
Yeah.
Big fan of that Merc though. That's a really smooth car.
I'll tell you what, if the CLK is an AMG, especially the Black Series, that is my dream car. As stupid as it sounds, CLK 63 is just one of the best. I guess if Jeremy Clarkson drives one,
that's right, yeah.
It must be one of the best cars in the world. So that's saying something about how good it is.
Yeah, he owned one for years, didn't he?
Yeah. The rear diffuser on the back, it's a very unique Mercedes AMG. A lot of them are starting to come very similar, but the CLK just had something that nothing else really had. Just a little bit different, correct. So,
did they release many of them here?
Look, if you look now, there's a few CLK Black Series up for sale, and they're still charging what they were when they first bought them over. You can get a 2009 CLK 63 Black Series for $160,000 with 4,000 Ks on it. Yeah, that's how good they are.
Yeah.
But I think 500 were made, and I think there's only maybe 10 or 20 in Australia, so they're pretty rare. I've only ever seen one or two of them.
Oh well, that's probably why you'd expect the price to be so high and to be where they are, because they're obviously such a rare car and held in such high regard as you said, the likes like
Mate,
JC.
One day, if I can afford it, that will be the car I get. One of them anyway.
One of them.
And what's the other one, James?
Oh look,
the Japanese master.
I really can't go past an R34 GTR. Yeah. That's up there with my top 5 dream cars. So it's just timeless, isn't it?
Yeah.
As time goes by, it just never gets old, and I don't think it ever will.
Yeah, no, I'm very much agreeing with you. I'm a big fan of the 34 GTR, especially the engine and just the drivetrain. It still today
ahead of their time.
The good old RB26 and like a revolutionary all-wheel drive Tesla system. Really cool car, and obviously all the various specs they came in, V-spec and
as time goes by, they love chucking the single turbo conversions in, and if you're chasing power, but for everyday driving, how can you go past a twin turbo? From low revs, you've got heaps of power, heaps of torque, but I guess after power, just chuck a big single in.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's what a lot of people do, especially with Supras and that as well. Like to get big power to the old 2J, they piss those twin turbos off and get a big single. Yeah. But the wonders of turbocharging. You'll have nothing down low, but then up high you'll
be wheel spinning to fourth gear.
Yeah.
And that's why as time goes on, they've realised that you need the best of both worlds. So you dual charge your car.
Yeah.
Supercharger and a turbo.
So you're always on boost technically.
Exactly.
Which is
no lag, just straight boost.
Straight boost. That's exactly right.
Look, from a non-performance standpoint, you see with the new Volkswagens, the dual charge, but I'm sure as time goes by, you'll get some supercars that are employing the technology available with that, and the sky's the limit, isn't it? I mean, apart from hybrid. Apart from hyperdrive, who doesn't like hearing the big beefy engine of a V8 with a twin turbo and or a supercharger on it? It's something that I think will never go away.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like
even with all the electric cars coming out, they're never going to fully banish a petrol car.
No, they won't until we actually run out of fuel. But like as many people say, the best noise in the world is a V8, but the better noise than that is a V8 with a turbo or a supercharged attached. So I have to agree with you there, Bucko. That's a really good.
There's nothing quite like a wine, is there?
No, there's nothing. and when the wine's coming from your car, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, when it's coming from the car, it's a good thing.
Oh no, that's good. That's good. So we'll go to a quick song. We'll go to a break. But when we come back, we're going to be talking Euros. So, you obviously like your Euros?
There's plenty to talk about in terms of Euros.
Yeah, and what about you, Luca? You like your Euros as well?
Euros aren't too bad. I'd rather the Japs.
Big Jap cars?
Nonsense.
No, that's good, that's good. Well, look, we'll go to our first song of the night. It's 98.9 Northwest FM. This is CarTorque with Matty J. Still in the studio with Luca and James, or Bucko as he's better known.
Yeah.
I'd say. If you got any ideas for Euro cars and we want to talk about it, send us a text on 044777 989. That's 044777 989. We'll give you a shout on the radio and we'll have a chat about the cars you're talking about. But in the meantime, we're going to be talking about our favourite Euros. I know I've got a fair few of them. There's been so many fantastic European cars over the years. I don't know about you guys, but I always thought the Europeans always made a good sports sedan. They kind of like really pioneered it to be a real good car.
Yeah, nice family sports car.
Yeah, like a big like a big family car that can get around corners and it's really enjoyable to drive. So I think like
they really did lead the way in the futuristics of cars.
Yeah, well, obviously the Mercedes S-Class for years has been the car that if you see technology in that car 10 years down the track afterwards, your standard car will have that technology.
Not even.
That's how far ahead a good Mercedes S-Class is. They're the first cars to have airbags, I think ABS, just all these features that are now standard in like your cheap $10,000 car.
Lane departure warnings,
everything.
Stuff like that.
I think they were the first to have like adaptive cruise control as well. So all that stuff. So just fantastic technology and just engineering as well. Like Germans are known for their engineering, especially if you get a good German-made Benz. You can't really go wrong. You've obviously had Benzes and that, so
it all comes from funding. In Australia, obviously, we don't have enough money put into the car industry to do research and development.
Yep.
Being as big as the German manufacturers are, that's what they spend a lot of their money on. So that's why the technology and innovation is so good. Yeah, no, you're right. I have been lucky enough. My dad recently got an AMG. He got an ML63, which is a 5.5 litre twin turbo.
Oh, yeah?
With a performance package which boosts power output to 410 kilowatts. So
that's pretty impressive.
to say that it's a sports SUV would be a bit of an understatement. It's a bit of overkill in my eyes. Yeah.
So he had a C63 before that, didn't he?
Before that, he did. He had a C63, which was just it's a car for the ages. It's a car that changed the vision of a lot of people's perception on something that's affordable. Or it's still $150,000, but I guess it's that mix between performance and affordability. So for me, the C63 was another great.
That's probably my favourite European.
Yeah,
the C63,
especially that 6.2 naturally aspirated V8 was just fantastic. Just an incredible motor. Power everywhere, and the sound it used to make. Oh, I reckon that sounds better than the new twin turbo.
Correct, and that's what we were just discussing before in terms of the ability to research and innovate. It's a testament to the Mercedes-Benz that they were able to adjust to the emissions regulations, bring it down in capacity, but still reach the same power output, the same torque figures, and the same speed. So it just goes to show how ahead of everywhere else they are. Yeah,
and that's exactly right. It shows their innovation with the turbo technology as well. It shows how far turbo technology has come, because
electric turbos are being soon.
Yeah, well, that's Formula One tech, and
you're exactly right. If you can't do it with one, put two turbos.
Yeah. We've got a text in. I don't know who it's from, but they said info on Skodas. So Skodas, they used to be a pretty terrible car back in the day. But then when now VW obviously owns them. Some of the new Skodas are really, really good. Like the Octavia RSs and stuff like that. I even like the Fabia RS. I reckon they're a great car.
I just came back from Europe, and all over there, all the taxis are just Skodas.
Yeah.
And everywhere there, I asked a few of the blokes there driving, and I said, "Oh, what do you think of the Skodas?" And they love them.
Yeah.
They said, "Yeah, they're reliable, and yeah, they're just a real good car."
Real good car. Yeah. I remember from my previous uni course, one of my lecturers, he was from Europe, but he's English, and he's like the Skoda used to be a terrible car, and he's like they had to reinvent themselves, and they did with the help of VW, and they've really brought their cars up a long way. So so Skodas have come a long way. If you're looking at getting a sensible Skoda, an Octavia RS, I reckon it's a fantastic car, all-wheel drive, turbo, quick. They're kind of like a mini Golf R, really, but not with the whole Golf R image. So. Big fan of the Skoda Octavia RS.
It's just with Skoda, you've companies like that, such as Chery, companies that are just trying to break into the market. It's very hard competing with established companies. So you've got to build your reputation overseas, and that'll translate to Australia over time, because consumers will be very hesitant to change to something that they're not used to, as opposed to your Toyota, as opposed to your Volkswagen, which have proved themselves over the time in the Australian marketplace. Yeah,
I could not agree with you more. So that's why, like, when Opel came here, they didn't last. They lasted about a year or two. And they just couldn't compete because they were marketing for a different type. And people had seen the Astras and stuff previously in Holden, but they're not gonna. It just didn't work for them, and they pulled out really quick. So that's why you see. And look what happened to Saab. Saab's finished as well. So you just need to know how to compete and where to position yourself, and to make sure make sure you're established first before you try to venture out. Which is, I think, a point you're trying to make there. It's really important point.
Matt, have you seen the Audi RS7? What do you think of that?
Is that the wagon?
It's the saloon, the very long.
Yes.
It's sort of very similar
twin
to
turbo V8, right?
To a German, very similar to a German Ford Mustang Fastback, I guess.
and the back of them just kind of shut down like that. Yeah.
For me, that's one of the most beautiful cars I could imagine. That's probably one of my favorite looking cars from the German industry at the moment.
What about a Lexus
cool
LFA? Who's got one of them?
It's a Japanese car.
If you've got an extra $750,000, there's a yellow one at Lexus Brighton at the moment.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's been there for a few years. I think the Lexus dealership owns that, and I don't think they're looking to get rid of it anytime soon. It's just sort of there as a meet and greet vehicle, which people can come down and take photos with, but not touch.
Not obviously, yeah. But I'm back on the RS7. Yeah, now that I've Jerry to what you're talking about. Yeah, that is a cool car, and people are getting massive power out of those as well, like with a tune. I saw one on Facebook. I'm not going to say the place I did it, but it's got I forgot the name of the tune that they put on it, but it's like
the APR tune.
APR tune, that's it.
About 700 horsepower.
2.3 seconds to 100. It's insane.
It sounds lethal. It is
lethal.
It is lethal. It's just something that a CEO can go and buy for maybe $300,000-$400,000, and it's something that'll get them to work if they're in a hurry. I'll tell you that much.
It'll get you home and back before you know.
Yeah, don't worry about freeway traffic. If you've got a few wings, mate, you can take off in that sort of car. I'll tell you that much.
Like, just think, 2.3. That's neck snapping pace.
Yeah,
that's insane. It just shows how well they build, I guess, and how structurally insane they are. Obviously they've got the Audi Quattro system happening, so they can get the power down real quick. But 2.3 seconds is just insane.
And it's from a car that no one really recognises. When you throw the Audi out there, everyone thinks of the RS3, RS5, RS8, but RS7 is one of their flagship models that many people discount. But it's one of the best German cars out there at the moment, I believe.
Yeah. Could not agree. I reckon they look awesome.
Yeah.
They kind of look like an old Merc C. I forgot what it was off the top of my head. But the kind of shape. Yeah. They're like a rounded shape. I think it's a CL.
Could be CLS.
CLS, that's it. CLS, that's it. Yeah. And they kind of got that shape, but
they do.
But I reckon the Audi looks better. It's a nice looking car.
Absolutely.
Especially black on black. If you can find one of those, are really cool. I don't know if you've ever seen though the older E39 M5s when they're naturally aspirated V8.
Luca? No, not. I can't say I have.
They were a manual only. That was I reckon that's the best M5 of all time. really cool car. It came out in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
I was on Facebook the other day, Matt, and I saw a BMW M1 on Car Spotting in Melbourne, which was something that I've never seen before.
It's the supercar M1.
Correct,
yeah.
the supercar M1, the first ever M-Series BMW to be released. And I just couldn't believe it. What do you think something like that would be worth on the market today?
You'd be looking, I reckon, close to $1 million. Yeah? Easy. Well, if not more.
How rare are they?
They are pretty rare, and they're very well sought after. So I didn't even know they had one in Australia. So that's pretty damn cool. Did it have plates on it, or did it have like a trade plate?
No, it had plates.
Well,
road legal in Victoria.
Dead set. There you go. I think they've taken a while to appreciate, but recently in the last few years they've just gone nuts. So if you can find one, hopefully you get a barn find somewhere, you can get one because
unheard of.
You're never going to be able to afford it.
Back to SUVs. My brother was actually looking at a BMW X50M.
Oh yeah,
which is very similar to the ML. And instead of 2 turbos, they've actually put 3 turbos onto it.
I was going to say
a tri-turbo diesel.
Yeah.
The torque in that thing, mate, you could take it to the farm and pull anything you wanted to, and it'd just chug along.
Do it easy.
Maybe that's just taking the piss out of things, but that's just incredible, isn't it? 3 turbos with a diesel.
Yeah.
On an M series, that's just remarkable.
Well, the Germans especially have been really focusing on their on diesel performance, and diesel performance has come a long way. They're not like your sluggish old, like truck anymore. They're a dead set weapon to be messed with.
Mercedes is bringing out a new G-Wagon soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that another AMG one, or
they're not bringing the 6-wheel one to Australia, are they?
The Endulzarian style. No, it's going to be a proper four-wheel drive. It's a 3-litre turbo diesel V6 engine, 135 kilowatts.
But how much torque though? That's the thing. That'd be
400 newton meters of torque.
There you go.
So I guess
they're not mucking around.
I guess they're just toning it down a bit more for the everyday consumer that's serious.
Now emissions are starting to take over too.
I think they're starting to realise not every Tom, Dick and Harry is going to get a G63 and go bush bashing with it. So that's why they
are bringing this to be made into a proper four-wheel drive.
Correct. It's a very smart... Look, once again, a very smart decision from Mercedes, taking into account what consumers are looking for. The four-wheel drive market in Australia is obviously as big as it's ever been.
Huge, yeah.
People are in love with it. So they're very smart, taking advantage of the opportunity that's there, and I think it's going to be a very successful vehicle. I
reckon it's a great idea because, obviously a obviously a Touareg tractor in a G63. No, let's be honest, it's never going to see a dirt road in its life. But if something like that gives you the option...
That's right.
And you know what? If there's plenty of aftermarket support for it, because if more people are buying it, Mercedes, you're onto a winner there, I reckon.
People are willing to spend these days on cars and accessories.
They'll be going for over 100, but just over 100.
Just over 100, but at the same money, you're looking at Land Cruiser money anyway. 80, so,
mate, I'm telling you that, mate. There was a man who probably earned more than $100,000 that pulled me out of a situation in the bush one time. So I reckon there's plenty of those guys sitting around.
Yeah.
Remember the guy in the Jeep, Luke?
In the Jeep.
Came and pulled me out of debacle we'd got ourselves into.
Tell us about that. What happened there?
Luke, you want to tell us?
It was just a case of unprepared.
A case of not knowing how to four-wheel drive on my behalf, I think.
Yeah, but I was behind him on a small track, and I couldn't get in front to snatch him out, so I had to walk up the road and find the Jeep driver.
Yeah, and potentially the Jeep driver who could quite possibly be a consumer for that new Mercedes-Benz came and got us out of there, which was good.
No, that's always looking at the bright side of consumer advice there. Do like that one. What are like German-made cars or like European cars anyway you want to talk about that you might like because of whatever reason? It can be full drive. It can be any. Look, I was thinking also because the Europeans have had hot hatchbacks and stuff for years. They've had it way before us, and I know definitely with Ford in Europe, especially in like Germany and Belgium, the Cosworth program they had back in the 80s and stuff was huge, and they released some classic cars like the Escort Cosworth, Sierra Cosworth, which were the Sierra Cosworth was obviously like a track legend. It got until it got banned. That and the GDR got banned, but obviously if we're talking track legend, we're going to go E30 M3. It's a great car, worth big money these days. E36s, anything with an M badge really is worth money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a testament to BMW. Unfortunately, these days it probably hasn't been as popular as Mercedes, but some of their old M series vehicles, just
Weapons.
icons, relics,
Yeah.
relics that people are willing to part lots of money for them.
yeah.
Your one of your friends used to have. Does he still have the? He had an M series, didn't he? M3.
Scott.
Scott.
Yeah, he had an E46 M3
A46.
with
yeah.
the SMG automatic, which was like a single clutch transmission. Well, single clutch wasn't very good for daily driving. It was pretty jerky and pretty crap. But on a track, it came alive because that's what it's made for. But yeah, probably would have been better with the manual. But having said that, obviously the later ones with the V8s and now they're back to see again they've downsized the turbo, so now they're back to a 6-cylinder turbo, twin turbo I should say. It just shows a testament to turbo engineering and the way the Germans are packing everything in these days. Like if you have a look at an engine bay in like any European car, like modern, there's just stuff everywhere. You don't know where to look.
Correct, yeah.
Basically half of your average mechanic, but
Yeah.
but you know, and obviously be a bit more on labour. But at the end of the
But
day,
everything now is just you plug your computer and it tells you what's wrong with the car. So.
Exactly right. So it's a bit of plug and play there.
And unfortunately, a few more screws to get where you need to get to fix the problem, which is unfortunate.
But that's the way the engineering is going these days. You know, so it's one screw to take off another 20, and then 5 instead of getting to one screw to take off that one part.
And then you get to the dealership and it's a few extra $1,000 in the repair bill for the labour.
And then you got to wait on parts, which is another thing why European cars or imports in general are just, you know.
That being said, though, I pulled apart my Land Cruiser. I also had a Land Cruiser, a 76 series Land Cruiser, which I pulled apart inside completely. I broke a few of those parts. I went to Toyota and they said to me, I need to order parts from Japan.
No way.
For you. And I said, oh, wow, how long is this going to take? He went on his computer, he put the order through, and he said to me, they'll be here in 3 days.
You're kidding.
So you can't really say that importing parts from other countries is a problem these days.
There you
because Toyota will get you what you need in 3 days.
That's just the Japanese for you.
And the parts
Efficiency.
I ordered were only 76 cents each.
No way.
So if they're willing to bring 76-cent parts in 3 days, if you order a clutch, mate, that needs to come from Japan, they'll have here overnight.
If you're from the Fast and Furious and you need parts for your Super, they'll be here overnight.
Correct.
Overnight parts from Japan. But yeah, well, that's pretty cool because I was speaking to my mechanic and he had a Peugeot 2.0.
I guess it's different if a mechanic's ordering parts compared to a
dealer. But he ordered it from a dealer.
He might be ordering the eBay special.
No, he went to Peugeot and ordered for, I think it was for a 205.
Peugeot.
Yeah, Peugeot. Yeah. He ordered a part and Peugeot themselves told him, oh, well, you're going to be looking at least 30 days to get it here.
30 days?
30 days. So the car was in his workshop for 30 days. It needed a water pump.
That's unheard of.
So I guess it depends on where you want. Depending on the dealership. Obviously, Peugeot's not as big as a Toyota or Mercedes, Mercia. But having said that, 30 days is a bit unreal. But you know what? I guess you got your 76 cents parts in 3 days. Cannot complain with that.
We also need to make another apology, boys. Why haven't we discussed Volkswagen? Why haven't we discussed Porsche? Big brands like that have great cars.
Yeah, well, we can get straight into them.
Still got half a show, son.
We've still got more than half a show.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Well, obviously it's some great Porsches you go the air-cooled Porsches, which are worth a lot of money these days. And then you go your early to late. I mean, your modern day 911 Turbo is still a cracking car. It's one of the fastest things going around.
Anyone that says to you that a Porsche will not match for performance any other car on the road today is a fool.
Yeah, they're more. Yeah,
they have more options performance wise than you would believe. From the 911 Turbo to the 911 GT3, even to the 911 Carrera,
GT2,
which will be a turbo. That's another thing. Porsche are bringing in turbos to nearly all of their 911 models now. So, out and out, every 911 in the range will just be an absolute weapon. Yeah, well,
even all their other Porsches are weapons. Like you look at the Boxer and the Cayman now; they're coming with turbos as well.
Yep.
And obviously
the poor man Porsche.
Yeah, and the Panamera and the and obviously the Cayenne and the Macan now. That's like you can get
Once again, the Macan is a car that offers beautiful performance for an affordable price. Obviously, $120,000 for a turbo model is still pretty expensive, but for most people out there today of the middle age, they're willing to part with that much money.
Yeah, and you're getting a cracking car for the money. I've sat in one of those. I reckon they're a fantastic car.
That just goes to show how far ahead the German industry is of everyone else.
Yep. Yeah, I could not agree more. As I say, technology-wise, and and just out and out general thinking of the way the car can work, Germans are pretty hard to beat.
And people need to consider, with Porsche, they're fitting a lot of car into a little bit of space. Yep. To get that engine performance in the space of a Volkswagen Beetle boot is something that I scratch my head considering.
Well, it's the way that this package of the Boxer engine at the end of the day, and like obviously Subaru's taken notice, and then they've fitted the.
I don't think those engineers sleep.
No,
they must work all night to get that down to size.
Yeah, well, it's. Obviously, German engineering again, mate. So they legit think of everything and more. So
well, I'll tell you, they think about a lot more because I watched a YouTube video where a journalist launched a 911 Turbo 30 times in a row using the launch control system, and not once did the car neglect 2.9 seconds to 100 kilometres an hour.
That's insane.
I have never seen anything. If I went outside now and launched my XR8 5 times in a row, I reckon by the 5th time the clutch would snap off the engine. So to have a car that is maybe 1.5 seconds to 100 quicker than mine, and to have it launched 30 times in a row under launch control conditions, without stalling, without braking, without any problems whatsoever.
It's incredible.
It is absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? If there were problems, you take it back to the dealership and they'll fix it under warranty, which is it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. They actually do stand by that product, which a lot of the big manufacturers do. But you know what? Having said that, obviously Porsche and Volkswagen are together, and Volkswagen's had some cracking cars over the years. They've had obviously the Golf R, which we were talking about before, which is a cracking hyper hatch really. GTI, which is pretty famous. But if you go to their more famous cars, like I don't know if have you ever heard of the Phaeton?
Can't say I have.
Which is like, it's pretty much, VW went out to build like the best car ever made, and they did it with the Phaeton. I don't think they were released here, but they had a range of engines. Just the way they were built, they were way over engineered.
Yeah.
And this is one of the best cars you can buy. So
a bit like the Veyron, I guess.
Well, pretty much. Volkswagen owns Bugatti. Well, the Volkswagen Group, Audi Group. So we're talking Audi. We're talking like David owned Lamborghini. So you got your Audi R8, which shares the same engine with Huracan now. The V10. So just to have a German car company owning Italian car companies, it says a lot. Look, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back on the other side of this. We're going to go to another song. That's right, 98.9 Northwest FM. You're back on Car Talk with Matty J, still in the studio with Luca and Bucko. So there's obviously tons we can talk about Euros, but there's just so much we can talk about. But in an hour show, we're not going to get through it all. So we're going to jump straight into our quizzes. Tonight we're mixing it up a bit, aren't we, boys?
Well, depending on how I go, we might have to quiz you afterwards to give you back a little bit of punishment.
Well, I have given this quiz to quite a few people, and some people haven't been too happy with their results. So they thought they're going to quiz the quizmaster. Yeah. So they're going to give me a quiz. But in the meantime, I've got a quiz for Bucko. Bucko's in the hot seat tonight. Luke's already had his quiz. Luke's actually leading, believe it or not. I don't know how.
I'm not looking forward to this under pressure, to be honest.
Under pressure? Nah, there's no pressure involved at all, mate. I'm actually feeling more pressure than you because the quizmaster's getting quizzed. So I theoretically have to get 100% to keep being a quizmaster. But we'll jump straight into it. So I've got to get my magical deep music playing. Got to get in the zone. Okay. Question 1. The Buick Regal GNX was produced by which company?
General Motors.
Well, besides Buick, there was a company that outsourced.
The Buick what, sorry?
The Buick Regal GNX.
Chevrolet?
Nah, McLaren Performance Technologies.
Yeah, I got no idea on that one.
What engine did that car have? It's a pretty famous engine.
389.
Nah, it was a, believe it or not, the Buick 3.8 out of you get out of a Commodore.
Oh, there you go.
So never late in the 3.8A.
Bang.
Luca, did you know that?
I answered that question a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
Did you? No, you
Did you
didn't.
know it or not?
There was a similar question to that about the 3.8 being in the Buick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, not too sure. I'm losing track. The XR6 Sprint and XR8 Sprint have had their tyres changed to which brand model?
Pirelli.
Yep, that's correct.
If I got that one wrong, I was going to go and
your
dump
car.
my car on the tip, I think.
The current HSV GTS has what engine code?
It is an LSA.
That's correct. Question 4. The 4B11T, so 4B11T is an engine that appears in what car?
Is it the rotary?
Nah, that's it's a Evo engine.
Oh, there you go.
It's the Evo 10, like the last Evo they made. Question 5. Mazda released the MX-5 RF. What does the RF stand for?
He's got you tonight.
Oh,
RF. I don't even know that.
it's the latest one they released.
Race finish?
Retractable fastback.
My goodness, mate.
The A45 AMG has what size engine?
2 litre.
It's a 2 litre. That's correct. What is the new Subaru wagon called instead of the WRX? It's a WRX wagon, but they don't call it the WRX anymore.
I should know this. I don't know, but I'm going to say... the WRX wagon. I couldn't say, mate.
The Lavorg.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Question 8. The new Toyota Supra is rumoured to have an engine by who? It's like a joint venture between them and a German company we're talking about. Think about who makes some buzzy 6-cylinders.
Volkswagen?
Nah, not Volkswagen.
Oh, yeah. Buzzy 6-cylinders.
Mercedes.
BMW.
Gates.
What year did the original Mazda 3 MPS come out?
2009? I couldn't say it.
2007. True or false? The latest BMW M5 has a V10. We spoke about this before.
The latest...
M5 has a V10.
No, false.
Yeah, that's correct. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10. That's not bad.
He's gonna have a. I reckon that's the hardest quiz you've had.
No, it's not. I've had a way harder than
There's
that.
no doubting that 4 out of 10 is not too good, I'd say that much.
Hey, it's not bad either.
Mate, I'm going to tell you, even the Pirelli question about the XR6 Sprint tyres was hard.
Get your quiz up, James.
I'm
Give him a taste of it, James.
keen for this quiz.
It's time for some medicine, Mr. Quizmaster.
Well, here's a pen to mark it out to see how many I
We're
get
going to
right.
split it 5-5, but I'm going all 10, mate.
All right. I'm actually nervous for this now. I'm kind of scared.
All right. Well, since you're the Ford Focus RS connoisseur, what was the figure stated from 0 to 100 for the latest Focus RS? What was the 0 to 100 time?
It's 4.9, isn't it?
No, it's 4.6 seconds. Okay, question 2. In 2012, what was the fastest naturally aspirated V8 engine in the world?
458. Or the C63.
Well, you've got to choose one of them.
Most fastest?
What was the fastest?
C63. I'll go C63.
Correct.
Yes, there's one. I'm on the board.
There's one. He's on the board. Okay, question 3. How many cylinders and with what capacity in litres does every Koenigsegg have
Oh,
in their current engine lineup?
far out. That's a hard one. Are they 4 litre?
Close.
Oh. 4.5?
No, they're 5 litre V8s with twin
turbos, yeah. I know they're twin turbos. I just didn't know the engine size.
Which of the following has a more powerful engine? The Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, the Lamborghini Aventador LP700, or the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat?
The Hellcat.
Incorrect.
Oh,
The Hellcat has 527 kilowatts. The Lamborghini has 510. But the Berlinetta has 544.
no way. Oh, my God.
Yes. Okay. Question 5. Which one, list one year that Ford produced the influential Model T.
1 year that they...
1 year that they produced it in.
Geez, they range from the early 1900s to, I think,
Pick 1 year.
1911.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. So that's 2 out of 5 so far.
Oh, that's bad.
So which of the following vehicle was the first to implement all-wheel drive technology? Was it the Subaru Impreza, the Audi Quattro, or the Ford Focus?
Audi Quattro, I know that one.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Which notable brand makes the production vehicle that currently holds the lap for the fastest lap at the Nürburgring Norschklif, which is a 20-kilometre circuit?
Which brand has
Which notable brand?
It's the fastest time. Is it a road legal car? Or is
It is a road production car. There are obviously race spec cars that have faster times, but from a road production standpoint, a notable brand, which brand is it?
There'd be 3 I'm thinking of.
Well, we need one today.
I know. you say it like me. Fastest road legal.
Five.
Would it be a GT3 Porsche?
It is a Porsche, yes.
Yeah.
But it's the Porsche 918 Spider.
We said the brand anyway, so you got to give that one to
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Thanks, mate.
So we're on 4 at the moment.
4 out of how many? So far?
4 out of 7. So
Okay,
you've
that's
got
not
3
too bad.
questions.
It's not too bad.
So true or false, the first car developed by HSV and sold by HSV through dealers was based on which series of Commodore?
HSV?
Yes. Which series of Commodore was the first HSV based on?
Well, I know the split between Brock and, HDT and Holden happened on the VL. And so HSV brought out the Walkie in the VL, so I'm going to say the VL.
It was.
Yeah.
It was the SV88, a luxury edition of the Calais.
Calais, that's right, yeah.
So that takes you to 5 with 2 to go.
Cool.
In 2015, which car manufacturer was offered on the New York Stock Exchange?
2000 and what year?
15.
On the stock exchange.
There was a car manufacturer on the stock exchange offered. Which manufacturer was that?
2015 on the stock exchange.
Was it DeLorean? Was it General Motors? Or was it Ferrari?
It wouldn't be DeLorean, because DeLorean's finished a long time ago.
But they are bringing back a new model of car, aren't they?
No, yeah, they are. They're actually redoing their car. You know what? Just because you said that, I'll chuck it out, the DeLorean.
Well, unfortunately, you're wrong. It's actually Ferrari.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotcha.
So this is a question for the Australian supercar buff.
Yeah.
What capacity do all V8 supercars run?
5 litre.
Correct. 6 out of 10.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good, actually.
That's pretty
I'll
good.
give you that, yeah.
6 out of 10's okay. Well, there you go. 6 out of 10. I guess I'm not the car genius I thought I was. Getting schooled here, man. Getting schooled.
Well, it's certainly better than a 4 out of 10. I'd say that much.
I'll have to bring you in again and I'll have to get quizzed again by you guys, because actually there were some hard questions in there. But Ferrari was on the stock exchange.
Ferrari in
Did say it.
2015 was on the stock exchange.
Wow. They were selling
Probably
themselves,
looking
or?
for some more capital for their Formula One team.
Yeah, they're not,
Only joking.
They haven't had a great year in the Formula One, actually. I think Mercedes has pretty much been, McLaren, sorry, has been dominating with Hamilton and was it Rosberg?
Yeah. Red Bull's holding their own.
Yeah, they are.
Ricardo is bringing back life into the Australian Formula One popularity.
Yeah.
He's doing a lot for the sport in Australia, and I think it's something. Not to say that Mark Webber wasn't an excellent driver, but Ricardo's just got that flair about him, that young flair that Australians are taking a liking to, and I know from my perspective, I think he's sensational. Just
I agree.
seeing him drink champagne out of a boot, that's just something Australians. That's just something Australians would do, and then forcing Mark Webber to do it.
Straight up.
It's just Quite funny, actually.
I reckon he's got a bit of a different personality to Mike Webb. Mike Webb is a bit more standoffish from what I've seen. I think whereas Ricardo's always smiling, he's always willing to have a laugh.
Yeah,
he pretty much personifies the Aussie character, which is really good. Which is why I think a lot of people are really getting on the Ricardo bandwagon.
And not only that, from the times you see him live on TV after a race, you can tell that he's proud to be Australian. I think that's the most important thing that people love about him.
Definitely, which is good because we really don't have any other really prominent races that are that well known anyway. So
especially in this day and age, the V8 supercar is just not as popular as it used to be, and you could argue that some of the drivers just aren't as good as they used to be.
Yep.
Watching commentary from the 1980s, 1990s, it's on Facebook at the moment.
So exciting.
It's arguably some of the best driving you'll see in the world at that time. And I guess as people got into go-karts and if the international scales just increase, people are more willing to travel overseas. It just meant that the better talent's gone overseas, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, that's a fair call. I mean, as well as Australia being such a far place away, we're it's good to see that we're producing talent. So that's something more than I could ever achieve, put it that way. Look, we're going to go to a final break of the night. We'll come back and wrap up right after this. But time's up for tonight. Thanks for coming in, guys.
All good, no worries.
No worries.
Have to get you in again. You have to get a better score than 4.
I'll be bringing a much better quiz next time as well. So
sounds good. I'm always up for the challenge.
I thought I'd start with the ease into it. I thought I'd ease into it tonight.
So you had a couple of hard ones in there. Give a quick shout out to Dr. Rock. Listen to his show on Monday nights and on Thursday nights with him and Fitzy. Always good listening. And a shout out to our listeners as well. I've got a listener in the US listens to our podcast. So Mr. Dave Rendon, give you a quick shout out. Thanks for listening in. In the meantime, if you want to come on the show, send us a text. Send us a message on our Facebook page, and we'll be happy to get you on. Happy to talk about cars. As we did tonight with you guys, it's a good discussion tonight about Euros and stuff like that. So, but yeah, until next week, thanks again for coming in. Until next week, I guess we'll see you later. We're going to end up with another request from the boys here. And I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.